Hello guys, back at Bonum. So today we are going to have a new topic. So we are going to talk about conditional statements. There are actually several conditional statements, and today we are going to cover the if-else statement. So our learning competencies today would be to identify parts of a conditional statement. We will differentiate also the if and else statements. And then on our third day, if I'm not mistaken, we will cover the else if statement. So ultimately, we must be able to differentiate if else and else if statements. And we will utilize conditional statements in solving machine problems. So we will have a motivation. For hybrid students, this will be via Quizizz. But for ODL students, I just want you to answer this on your own. So we have four different values provided. A gets 4, B gets 5, C gets 2, and D gets 1. Assume that all of the variables are integers. What I want you to do is pause this video for a moment and try to figure out what would be the answer to the 5 different statements. Now, the answer will only be either true or false. Now, to know if a statement like this, we call them relational statements or conditions, to know if a condition is true or false, we have to evaluate them. We will check if A is equal to B. What is the value of A? That's 4. The value of B is 5. So the question we are asking here is if A is equal, or sorry, if 4 is equal to 5. Now we know that 4 is not equal to 5, therefore our answer for number 1 is false. For number 2, B plus A is not equal to B. The value of D is 1, the value of A is 4, so this is 5. B is 5. We are asking if 5 is not equal to 5, but they are equal. So therefore, the answer is false. Number 3, A is 4, C is 2, so 2 times 2 is 4. Now we are asking if 4 is greater than or equal to 4, and the answer to that is true. Number 4, D times B. D is 1, B is 5, so 5 greater than A plus C. A is 4, C is 2, 6 is 5. Greater than 6, the answer is false. Number 5, B times C. B is 5, C is 2, so this is 10. Is it less than A plus B? 9 plus D, 10. Tama ba? A, B, and D. So, 10. So, 10 less than 10 is actually false. So, let's try to talk about them more in the next few segments of our video. Those things that you saw are actually called conditions, and they are used in conditional statements. But what is a conditional statement? It is used to provide different paths for the flow of our computer program. Again, let's say we will create a computer program that accepts an age, then it will determine if the age is a minor or an adult. Now, again, I want you to read the scenario. We need to break down word problems like this if we are going to create a program out of it. Now, how should we break down the problem? First, what do we need from the user? Ask yourselves that. Based on our scenario, what do we need from the user? We are asking for what? We are asking the user for an age. So if we are going to ask for an age, definitely that is our input. Next, how will we get the user input? We need an input, therefore in our code, we need to be able to type in something that will ask the user for an input. So definitely you need here a scanner object. And you need to declare the scanner object, and you need to import the scanner. Next, how will we say that the user is minor or an adult? We are now talking about our output here. The computer program must accept an age, then it must determine if it is minor or an adult. So our output here is displaying if the user is minor or adult. How will we know if a user is a minor or an adult? Based on the age. So think about it for a moment. You yourself, are you a minor or an adult? If you say you are a minor, how do you know that you are a minor? And when is the time for you to become an adult? By law, all, all persons who are under the age of 18, meaning 17 years old and below, are considered as minors. And those adults are of age 18 and above. So mathematically, we can write it as age, let's say less than 18, those are considered minor. But if your age is greater than or equal to 18, yan yung adult. Now, we will use these kinds of conditions that we create for our conditional statement. Now, just a refresher, because if I'm not mistaken, during your JavaScript days, as if I was your teacher, I already discussed relational statements such as this. What are relational statements? They are statements that compares two values. How do they compare two values? We use the symbols less than, greater than, less than or equal, greater than or equal, and not equal. So how do you compare two? We just state two different values, like say 2, sorry, ulit. Sorry. Let me get back. How will you compare two values? We will just place one value on the left, and then we use a relational operator on the right, and then we put another value. Now, an answer to a relational statement will only be either true or false. So in this statement, we are comparing the value 2 to another value 2 by way of less than sign. So we ask 2 less than 2, the answer to that is false. Why? Because 2 is not less than 2. 2 is actually equal to 2. Or if they are variables, let's say meron ng provided the variable, A is 1, B is 2. If we will compare that, A is not equal to B. So 1 not equal to B, that is actually true. So those are relational statements. Or we also call them as conditions. Now let's look at this diagram, this flow chart, to create the computer program, the Java program for the problem. Again, we need to ask for an age. And then next is we need to use a condition using the variable we created, the age. We need to check if it is above or equal 18. Or another way of saying that is age less than 18. It's also the same thing. Now, depending on how you frame, how you make the sentence or the question, the arrows must follow whatever the condition or how the condition was framed. So in this case, is age greater than or equal to 18? Because if yes, if that is true, you need to display you are an adult. But if the age greater than equal to 18 results to false, you need to display you are a minor. So let's try doing a computer program out of that. I will be using this online compiler. Alright. Ay, masyado palang maliit. Okay, better. So the first one is we will ask for an age. We already know we've broken down the problem. We determined that the input will be an age. So we need to create a variable. Let me just remove this. We need to create a variable that will contain any value of an age. Next question, what data type should we use? Should we use an integer or should we use a double? Now, the answer to that, of course, is we need to use an integer. We will declare the variable age as an integer. Let me put an initial value of 0. You might ask, Sir, bakit naman po integer? Why not double? Because our ages, by the very simple explanation, our ages are defined for having whole numbers only. Hindi naman tayo nakakakita ng age na 15.1, 15.2. Our ages are always by the whole numbers. So we declared an integer value, age. But then again, the age will not come from the programmer. So we will not write the exact age here like 15 or 16 or 17. We set it at 0 for an initial value only. But ultimately, the input must come from the user. So what do? We need an input statement. So we have to create a scanner. And to create a scanner, if you can remember, we need to import the functionality java.util.scanner. And then we will declare a scanner object. Scanner, palitan ko yung pangalan, I will use get. Gets new scanner system.in. And then, that's the time we will ask for an actual age. Itong part na to. Part na ng flowchart natin. So how will we ask for the age? Of course, we need to prompt the user. So, prompting the user, it's really up to you what you want to write. Please type your name or something like that. And then for the actual getting of the age, we need to place the variable name, age. We get the scanner object, get dot next int. Again, this part is the actual getting of the input. Because of that code, you will be able to type in the console. Let's try to run this one, kahit hindi pa tapos. So because of that, nakikita niyo yung cursor, it's blinking, it means you will be able to type. But if you remove that and run it, you will notice na hindi kayo pwedeng mag-type. So this line of code is actually the one getting the input. Next, so we now are able to get the age, nasa-save siya sa variable na age. Next step is we will create the code for the decision, age greater than equal to 18. So how will we do that? We will create the conditional statements. This is the syntax of a conditional statement. So let me break this down to you. We use the keyword if followed by a condition. Ano ulit yung condition? Yun yung ginawa natin ng motivation. Yung merong greater than, less than, equal, not equal. Now, whatever is the answer to this, true or false, merong certain na gagawin. If the answer to the condition is true, we need to perform the block located on the if segment. So ano yung block? A block is signified by greater than and less than. It means this is part of one group. Pwede tayo maglagay dyan ng system.in for how many times it will be part of one block. Ibig sabihin, sama-sama siya, sunod-sunod siya ang gagawin ng computer. Kung ilalagay natin in this context, whatever, how many lines man yan ang nilagay natin inside the blocks of an if statement, if our condition is true, all of the codes will be performed as long as they are inside the if block. But if the answer to our condition is false, if our answer is false, we will not perform the if block, but rather the computer will jump to the else segment and it will perform all of the codes inside the else statement. So let's go back here. Let's implement that. So we will write the if keyword followed by a condition and then our block of code. Yan yun. What will be the condition inside? We are going to ask, we will just follow this one. If age is greater than or equal to 18. What will happen if age is greater than or equal to 18? If the answer to that is true, we will display you are an adult. So we will write here system.out.print you are an adult. But if the answer to our condition is false, we write that on the else statement. Copy ko na lang ito. On the else statement, it must be you are a minor. And then, tapos na naman sila, so wala na tayong isusulat sa iba pa. Now, let's run this. Please type your name. I will write here, Sir RJ. Bakit please type your name? Sorry. Let's stop. Bakit please type your name? Nagkamali ako. Please type your age. Okay, please type your age. Let's say I will write here 17. Now, before we proceed, let's analyze first what will happen. If I press enter, the value here will be stored inside the variable. Dahil nga dito, nakakapag-type tayo. So if I press enter, the value will be stored inside the variable age. Now, on the next line, the computer will evaluate, is age greater than or less than 18? The answer to that will be false. Therefore, this block of code will not be performed, but rather, this block of code. So, ang makikita nyo, ang magiging output, you are a minor. Let's press enter. Ganon. Again, let's run it. Let's say, ang itatype ko naman na age is 20. So again, if I press enter, the value 20 here will be stored inside age. Next is age greater than or equal to 18. The answer to that is true. Since this is true, this will be performed. You are an adult. Tapos hindi niya nagagawin to. So because of the conditional statement, nagkaroon ng divergence ng flow. It will either perform the if statement or the else statement. Now, I forgot to mention, ngayon ko nasasabihin, we have two types of output statement pala. We have system.out.print and we also have system.out.println, print line, println. What's the difference among the two? If you use system.out.print, ang output niyan will be one after the other. But if you use system.out.println, the output of that will be cascading. A, next line A, next line A, next line A. What do I mean? Try natin dito. Dagdagan natin tong you are an adult. System.out.print to right? You are an adult, you are an adult, you are an adult. Tatlong beses lalabas, pero magkakasunod yan. But if you are going to use println, print line, dito natin gawin sa else, you are a minor ng tatlong beses. So, lalabas to, tatlong lines ng you are a minor, hindi siya magkakadikit. So, let's try one, you are an adult muna. Let's say 30. Magkakadikit. Sir, bakit po magkakadikit? Walang space in between dito tsaka dito. Primarily because wala namang space after. Pero kung lalagyan natin ng space, magkakaroon na yan ng space. Now, yung another case, kapag minor, age is 1. Tatlong magkakasunod to. It's because we use print line. So, the next line lumalabas yung susunod na madi-display on the screen. Okay. Balik tayo dito. Let's do some exercise. We will ask for a name, and if the name is your name, display hello followed by the name. Pero pag hindi, ilalagay natin I don't know you. So remove ko lang lahat, ulitin natin. Hanggang dito. Iwan na natin si scanner. There. So, we will ask for a name. Anong kailangan nating input dito? Ang input natin is a name. So, we declare a variable that is a string, kasi name yan, alphanumeric. Lagay na lang natin na fname, first name. Initialize na lang natin sa blank. So, fname ang ating input. So we will ask for the name. So let's prompt the user. System.out.print, please input name. And then we will get the user input by using the variable, and it will get scanner object dot next line. So because of that, makakapag-type na si user. And then, next natin, we will create a condition. Kasi, ang tanong dito, if the name is your name, so if name is equal to, in this case, pangalan ko na, Sir RJ. Puro small. And then we create the block. Inside the block, we display hello plus the name. System.out.print hello. Paano natin idadagdag yung name ng user? Or paano natin idadagdag yung variable? We just add plus and then yung variable which is fname. Sorry, hindi pala name to. Fname. Fname. Or else, kapag hindi, copy ko na lang. We will display kapag hindi siya equal, I don't know you. So let's run this. Please input name. Ilalagay ko capital S, Sir RJ, tapos capital R, capital J. Ang sabi niya dito is, I don't know you. Sir, ba't ganun? Same lang naman yung type mo. But if you are going to look at it closely, our condition here is, Sir RJ, lahat maliliit. What we are actually comparing it to is Sir RJ. Yan yung nasa loob ng condition. Eh ano ba yung input ng user? Yung input ni user, capital S, small ir, and then capital R, capital J. Are they equal? Is this one equal to this one? And the answer to that is false. Because a small letter is different from a capital letter. Alright? So, in strings, if you will compare, kailangan same ang ano tawag dyan? Yung kung capital ba o hindi. Oh wait, ba't nagkaroon ng kamalian? Ulit. Nag-error na. Hindi dapat mag-error yun. Wala. Baka nagkakaroon ng problema sa space. Okay. Sorry. This is Java. So, I made a mistake. Let's correct this one. Nawala sa isip ko. Nasanay ako sa JavaScript at saka sa PHP. When we compare in Java, we cannot use dalawang equal sign. By the way, let's put some context into it. Two equal signs is different from one equal sign. Yung one equal sign, we called it as an assignment operation. Alalahanin ninyo yung left gets right concept. If we assign a value to a variable, we use one equal sign. Now, dalawang equal sign, that's a relational operator. We compare two values. In JavaScript, nasanay tayo, we compare A equals B, right? But in Java, it's different to compare pala if we are going to compare strings only. So instead of using the equal sign, we actually use dot equals. So it's written like this. Fname dot equals and then inside the parentheses, doon natin ilalagay kung saan i-compare. Now this one will work. Medyo technical kasi kung i-explain ko kung bakit hindi gumagana yung dalawang equal sign. So for now, i-ano na lang natin na kailangan kapag magko-compare tayo using strings, we will use dot equals. So variable name dot equals yung value sa loob. Ayun. Sir, pwede rin ba mag-work to with integers? Yes, it can. So, kung kunyari gagawin natin itong integer, kailangan 0 siya. Kunyari ko compare sa 0, gagana yan. Yung dot equals. Ay, teka lang. Saan nag-error? Int fname equal to. Tanggalin na natin yan. Following error. Okay, so it seems hindi siya gumagana dito. Pero sa NetBeans yata gumagana. So ayaw na ni compiler mag dot equals kay integer. So wala tayong magagawa. If we are going to use integers and double, we need to use two equal signs to compare. But if we are going to use strings, we have no choice but to use the variable dot equals and then inside is the value we are going to compare. Okay, let's create another one. Quickly na lang, determine if a number is positive or negative. Okay, meron na tayo ditong integer. Palitan na lang natin ito. Gawin natin num. And then please input number. Num will get next in. Next num. Ngayon, ang tanong dito, ano ngayon ang dapat na condition natin? How will we know if a number is positive or negative? Mathematically, pwede nating sabihin na ang number ay positive if the number is above 0. So if num is actually greater than 0, that is positive. If the number is less than 0, yung kabaliktaran yan, yun yung negative. So, kunyari, 5. Ang value ng num is 5. Num na 5 greater than 0, that's true. So, positive ang kalalabasan. Pero kapag ang input natin ay, let's say, negative 9, so the value of num is negative 9, dito magfo-false yan, this will not be performed, ito ang mape-perform. Negative. Alright. So, now let's try to do an activity. Gawin nyo to. Ask for two numbers from the user. So, magpa-prompt kayo twice. And then you need to declare two variables. Yung unang number, doon nyo ilalagay sa isang variable. Yung pangalawang number, ilalagay nyo sa pangalawang variable. And then afterwards, you process it. Create a third variable. Anong laman ng third variable? You get the sum. Yung num1 plus num2. And then, i-display nyo kung ano man yung sum. Now, the next thing you will have to do is display if the number is above 20 or not. So, tingnan natin kung paano nyo ilalagay yung mga conditions. So, pwede nyo, ang gawin nyo, kung isasubmit nyo yung activity 4.1, you copy all the codes, Control A, copy, tapos paste nyo sa notepad. Yan, paste nyo yan sa notepad. I-save nyo yan as ganyan, as text. Yan yung i-attach nyo sa Schoology. And then announcement on day number 2, we will have post-test 2 about variables, data types, code tracing, input, and output statement. Okay? So that's it. Pakigawa na po ang activity